earth as in heaven, right here in my heart. Father, let your kingdom come. Father, let your will be done, on earth as in heaven, right here in my heart.
Our Greek Orthodox brothers and sisters have allowed us to come up here to the top of the Patriarchate. Here behind me is the beautiful church of St. Helen and her son Constantine, the dome of the Holy Sepulcher right over the place where the Lord rose from the dead. And you can see the skyline. This is Old City, Jerusalem. Right here is the Mosque of Omar. Omar was a Muslim conqueror who, instead of turning the Holy Sepulcher into a mosque, respected the prayer of the Christians and put his mosque right here. That's the minaret that you see right here. There's also a small monastery down below. And then you see the beautiful bell tower of the Church of the Holy Redeemer of the Lutherans here in the Old City. If you look a little bit closer, we're looking toward the Mount of Olives, and we can come over to this part, which is also part of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate. One of my favorite chapels is the chapel or the Holy Monastery of Abraham. In that monastery, they have something extraordinary. And that is, of course, the remembrance of the ram that got his horn stuck in the bush. And that is the ram that Abraham offered up instead of Isaac. And so they say that perhaps the bush was right there. They've built a chapel around it. They're renewing that chapel. And it brings us back to the sacrifice, not only of Isaac that God stopped and said, "You have a heart like mine," but the sacrifice of his son, Jesus, who won for us salvation through his death and resurrection. Also here below, we have a bird's eye view, a unique view of the entrance, the modern entrance into the Holy Sepulchre here on the side of the church. And you can see that infamous ladder that everybody points out because of the status quo. But there's such a unity that's coming among the Christians, especially now, after there's been so much time of conflict and war. And you can see the entrance to the 10th station, the chapel of the Franks. You can see the double entrance in there. And they're doing a lot of work. So when we come back, or when you can come back to the Holy Land, you'll see a new floor in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. They're doing some excavations and putting on new flooring so that people can visit a church which is much more beautiful. That itself is testament to the unity that's happening among the Christians, even here in these very contested, over the centuries, holy sites. So let's give thanks to the Lord for this grace. And you can see above me also the bell tower that the Crusaders put up when they were in control of the Holy Sepulchre. It's lower than it was before, but they're trying to restore it also as well. So let's continue to pray for unity and also pray for one another. Now let's take a peek into the monastery of Helen and Constantine. Today we're going to be speaking about the Our Father in Greek. That's the Pater Imon in Greek. So you might want to ask, why was Greek spoken in the Middle East? Well, there were many Greek merchants who settled in Egypt, and there were a lot of Greek mercenaries in Pharaoh's armies. But mostly, Greek was spoken as a result of the campaigns of Alexander the Great in this part of the world. And so Greek spread over all of the Eastern Mediterranean and became the most important language in the Middle East. Greek was spoken for a very long time during the Hellenistic period. And so even when the Romans were here, even when Ptolemy was here from Egypt, they all spoke Greek. It was the language of the educated, it was the language of trade, it was the language of diplomacy, and it was used alongside rather than instead of local languages. So it's really important. Greek wasn't abandoned until the region was invaded in the 7th century, and then the caliphates came in and people began to speak Arabic. What's interesting is that Greek in this area of the world is still used for liturgy. Many people, of course, who use Greek for liturgy will speak Arabic in their normal lives. So when we're talking about the Our Father in Greek, one of the main things I wanted to point out is that in English and in Latin, the Our Father has a part where it says, pray for us to be delivered from evil. In Greek, the original language of the Our Father of the Bible, it actually says, be delivered from the evil one. Deliver us from the evil one. And so the most common prayer taught to us by the Lord himself contains, in a certain sense, a little exorcism against the devil. Now we're going to enter into the Holy Sepulchre and meet the bishop of the Greek Orthodox Church that controls a good part of the Holy Sepulchre. He has his office right underneath Calvary, and so he's going to tell us about the central part of the church and also Calvary. It is such a pleasure for me to be here together with our bishop here, the bishop of the Holy Sepulchre, and we find ourselves in what they call the Katholicon, really the center of the world, but I'm going to let our bishop explain this. And so could you please introduce yourself first to our pilgrims?
Yes, my name is Archbishop of Hierapolis Isidoros. I'm the superior of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate in the Holy Sepulcher Church.
Yes, in fact, for those of you who aren't familiar with the presence of the Greek Orthodox here in Jerusalem, it's immense, because I think many of you come from the West and you might see some of the Greeks, but they have the central part of the Holy Sepulchre, and they are the guardians of the tomb. In fact, I think it's called the Brotherhood of the Holy Tomb. And so, can you tell us a little bit about the Katholicon and its history?
Yes, of course. Here we are standing in the middle of the Holy Sepulcher. It's called Katholicon because everybody knows in the Orthodox Church, in the monastery or in the convent, you have many chapels. The central chapel is called Katholicon.
That's the center of the chapel.
The center of the Holy. And also here, we're calling the middle of the world because we have in the Old Testament a fragment that he said that Jesus Christ, he will come to the middle of the Holy Land to saving the people. Because yes. It's in the middle between Golgotha, the crucifixion, and the tomb, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. We put it as small to the Katholicon. It's calling also the center of the world for the Christianity.
So one of the main prayers here in Calvary, I think that any good Christian at the foot of the cross would pray, is the Our Father. And since this is the main place where, one of the main places, 2 places where you are, could you tell us or just pray the Our Father with us in Greek?
Yes. Πάτερ ημών, ο εν της ουρανής, αγιαστήτω το όνομά σου, ελθέτω η βασιλεία σου, γεννηθεί το θέλημά σου, ως εν ουρανό και επί της γης. Τον άρτον ημών των επιούσεων δώσει με σήμερον, και άφεση μην τα οφειλήματα ημών. Ως και εμείς αφήνουμε τους οφειλέδες ημών, και μη συνέγγιση μας πειρασμών, αλλά ρίσε ημάς από του πονηρού. Αμήν.
Amen. Thank you.
Welcome.
It is a blessing for us to be here inside the Melkite Catholic Church here in Jerusalem. And we are with the bishop. And if you could introduce yourself so that all of the people who are following us know who you are.
I am Bishop Yasser Al-Ayyash, originally from Jordan. I am Jordanian. And I am Vicar General Patriarchal. That means for the patriarchs. And our here, Greek Catholic Melkite Patriarchate in Jerusalem.
Oh, it's absolutely a beautiful church. And I think for most people, especially people in the West, they're not used to Melkite rite, first of all, and they're not sure. Sometimes they hear Melkite Catholic and they're not sure if this is Orthodox or if it's Catholic. So could you just explain briefly?
So I would like to tell you that we call us Melkites, but we are Greek Catholics, no, or Greek Melkite Catholic Church. It is the same. We were originally Orthodox, and we began our unity with Rome in 1724. In 1724, we began our unity with Rome. Wow. That's why they call us Catholics, Greek Melkite Catholics.
Yes.
But we have our tradition, our liturgies, our patrology and theology and so on, and liturgical books. It is the same as the Orthodox Church.
Exactly the same.
The same.
In fact, if you have the divine liturgy,
yes,
it follows the same structure.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. One. And so with the iconostasis, and then you have the central.
Yes, the same tradition, the same tradition as the Orthodox Byzantine Church.
Can I ask, when is it in the divine liturgy that, in the Greek liturgy, right? When is the Our Father prayed? When do you pray the Our Father?
Yeah, before the communion.
Before the communion.
So because yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because before the communion, we say Our Father, yes, as a preparation for the communion, to forgive everyone, one another.
Exactly, which is important before you come to the table of the Lord, as it says. Oh, that's wonderful. Can you tell us more about the history of the church here in Jerusalem?
In Jerusalem, this church, this cathedral of Annunciation, was built in 1868. In 1868, and from that time we have usually Vicar General, Vicar Patriarchal General in Jerusalem. Some recently was bishop, no. Before that was an archimandrite or another priest, no, some priests. Here we have the center of the Patriarchate, and we have our activities, pastoral works in the parishes all over West Bank. Because in Galilee we have another bishop.
Oh, you have another bishop?
Yes, sure.
Yes, we've been
This
to
is
the
the bishop
church in-
of Galilee.
I'm Archbishop Emeritus Joseph Jules Zerei. I am born in Egypt, but I am Greek Orthodox for my mother. But my mother was Greek Orthodox, but my father was Greek Catholic. I'm an Archbishop Greek Catholic, but my mother was Greek Orthodox, and my father was Greek Catholic. And I was in Egypt for many years, rector of a big school in Cairo, and then Archbishop in Egypt, Cairo, and Sudan. And then I was transferred here in 2008 to be the Archbishop here, Patriarchal Vicar of Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Now I'm retired. My name, originally I'm born Jules, like Julius, but I preceded my name with Joseph. We are saying in Arabic, we said it in Arabic.
Nice.
We practically said it in Syrian.
Yes,
in
it
Aramaic.
was beautiful in Aramaic.
Yeah, but no, it's a part of our prayer. We always have our initial prayers. We say, Holy God, Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us. And then our initial prayers, we begin with Holy God 3 times, and then we finish with our Father. This is all our prayers like that. We have vocation to Holy Spirit at the beginning, and then 3 times Holy God, and then our Father. This is all our prayers, the Oriental prayers, Catholics and Orthodox, we always begin with this. So it's normal, it's our initial prayer.